state of our nation is today?
Well, the president spoke about the fertilizer program, which admittedly is a success. And I took part. I worked with it with the president. And in fact, one day, a minister came and presented to the president a bill of about 1.8 billion to distribute fertilizer. And I happened to be there, and I told the president, this is theft. You know, he was saying, for us to distribute fertilizer in Kenya, we need to hire a firm to ensure that the fertilizer reaches the farmers. And he was giving like 300 shillings per bag. So we calculated with the president, and the bill would have been like 1.8 billion. And I did suggest to the president that we could register farmers using the officers of the National Government Administration, and he was agreeable. And he asked me to oversee the exercise, which I did successfully. And within 2-3 weeks, we had registered 5 million farmers. And that program is very, very successful. Again, the issue of the strengthening of the Kenyan shilling, that again is successful. Again, the employment of the teachers, 52,000 teachers, where you do that is true. But there are issues he talked about. The economy has improved. There is growth, there is less inflation, all those figures. From where I sit, because I told you I was around during Moi time, around during Kibaki's time, I was there during Uhuru's time, I'm there during Ruto's time. For you to know whether the economy is successful, you don't need figures. Just ask 190, they will tell you. If you ask people who have been around through those 4 governments, they will tell you that the economy improved during the tenure of Moi Kibaki. Those are they are the best indicators. Forget about these figures and percentages. Those are theories and statistics done at the Treasury, growth of 2.7%, I don't know. Those are okay. But if you want to know how the economy is performing, just talk to the ordinary people. Karanja, you live with this country. Talk to the people.
What is your view?
I'm asking you. Talk to the people.
You served in this government for half time.
We are not talking about the government now.
We are talking about
I'm telling you,
Your Excellency,
the best people to give you an indication about the performance of the economy are the people of Kenya. And from what they tell me every day, they don't think we are making any progress. They think we are doing very badly. And at the end of it all, they are the owners of this country. They are the people we work for. So what they think and what they feel is the most important. And any time there is improvement in the economy, the people will feel it. There will be improvement in business. There will be improved cash flow, employment. All those benefits will tag along with an improvement of the economy. And I can tell you, from where I sit, Kenyans are crying. One, for taxation. I was with a police officer who told me all those things that were happening, because even them, they are very unhappy looking at his payslip, the deductions. All the people with the payslips are very unhappy because the deductions are not corresponding to the service. Like now, this money for SHA and SHIF, people are deducted when you go to hospital. There is no service. Again, we had a problem with the Finance Bill 2023 about taxation of primary agricultural produce, avocado, macadamia. So you find people have a problem. If you go to the small traders in Nairobi, in fact, if you go to Nairobi, Karanja, I would like you to take your cameras and yourself and go around. Most of the shops are closed down. There's no business. And that's a clear indication. If you want to know how the economy is going, go downtown to Nairobi, go to River Road, go to Taveta Road, go to Accra Road, go to Nyamakema, and you find most shops are closed. In fact, shops used to pay goodwill of 3 million. You are being called by the landlords, please take this shop. All right. There's no goodwill. Pay us whatever rent you can afford when you have it, but have the place open. So I can say that we are not doing well. Those figures the president said, fine, those are figures. But listening to the people of Kenya, moving around the country, moving around downtown, we are not doing very well.
And why did we not do well in the 2 years of Kenya Kwanza? During your inauguration, you clearly stated that you took a country that had a dilapidated economy. However, you were stably on the steering wheels with President William Ruto for 2.5 years, and you're giving us a track record that the economy is bad. Why is the country still having a bad economy while you and President Ruto led it for 2.5 years?
I think you would have to take time to look for President William Ruto and ask him that question, because he chairs the Economic Council that advises him. I never used to attend that session. All decisions on the economic interventions are done by that team that is chaired by the President. For all of us, ours was just to follow what has been decided at that forum. Okay? Even if we disagreed with it, that decision was final. So at the right time, look for the President and ask him that question.
What you're telling us is not what you used to tell us as Deputy President.
I was, the first year, I was very clear that we inherited a difficult country. We inherited an economy that was doing very badly, and we needed to be given time to work on it. And I was so persuaded and so motivated to be part of that, until along the way I found that I am not involved in any of my level. And that is why I was being accused of not defending that. Then it will be very difficult for you to defend that particular program.
Yet from how it looked on you,
involved
in every decision.
The first year, yes.
Up to some point,
the second year, I don't know those things.
Let me ask you.
Be truthful to you, I have told the President that the people of Kenya do not want a housing program. Building houses should be left to the private sector. They revisit the tenure of President Mwai Kibaki. President Mwai Kibaki opened the bypasses and sewage. Just go through the bypasses so that you also allow the private sector to thrive. Housing is people should be allowed to build their own houses at their own time, and that is why you find many people are not able to tell the President that truth. Many people are not able to tell him that truth, and that is why you found the other day when he was in Embu, he went to talk about that housing, and people told him, no, we don't want it, because it's reaching there. Because you see what is happening to Kenyans. They find everybody else has failed them. MPs are not talking for them. Nobody is talking for them. Then they are left on their own now to address the President directly. It was very unfortunate, because that shouldn't happen ordinarily, where people are shouting at the President. It's not right. It was very awkward for me. But people have reached there, because he was talking about housing so passionately to people who believe it is not right. And many a times I told the President, Your Excellency, I'm talking to many people. Professionals are talking to me, business people are talking to me, church people are talking to me. People think President Uhuru Kenyatta. The Mauau roads, the bypasses, all roads that are going on, irrigation dams, provide the irrigation. The people of Kenya feel that is what is a priority. Again, the people wanted us to pay the pending bills, which is about 900 billion. They felt that the issue of housing is really not a priority, and it's a very individual thing, and they feel that it should be left to the private sector, you know. And myself, Karanja, I'm a people's person. Once the people are of that opinion, that becomes my automatic opinion.
And that
the president was accusing me of not going to launch housing. It's one of the things repeatedly he would accuse me of. Wewe Rigiji unisaidii kwenda kufungua manyumba nini? Mwambia hii manyumba watu wataki boss. Sasa mimi sitaki kupigana na raia. Unajua hii wananchi ndio wametuajiri kazi. Ya rais tumeajiriwa kazi na hii watu. Sasa hii kitu ya manyumba hii hawataki. You know? Hata tukijaribu kuwaambia they are not interested. Because even many times so with the time I had studied how long he takes. So once he starts and I decide that he will take 25 minutes, I would go and mix with the people when we are launching those projects. They would clearly just say they are not interested.
Mr. Gachagua, you're telling us that most of the advices you gave, you're saying you gave an opinion about SHA,
yes.
It was never heard. You gave an opinion about the housing levy, yes. It was never heard nor implemented.
It wasn't.
Then why did you insist on serving for that long? Why didn't you resign?
Well,
you were in a government
yes.
that clearly didn't want to heed your advice as the president's principal assistant.
Well, President William Ruto had not given me the job, so I was given by the people of Kenya. And there were a few things that I was doing that were okay. I was quite busy and happy to do the coffee reforms. I was quite happy to do the tea reforms. I was very happy to do reforms in the data sector,
which you claimed were eventually sabotaged by Parliament. Up until recently.
But there was something that I was doing. I was working on the ACO program, and I felt there were a few things that I could continue doing that were beneficial to the people of Kenya. And since I had been employed by the people of Kenya, I could not leave the job simply because I'm not being listened to, because there were a few things on my own that I was doing quite successfully.
It would have been insincere, because you are saying even the ones who the work you did was sabotaged. You're saying you are given the job by the people of Kenya and you could not leave.
No, it was by the work I was doing was going very well until a decision was made to get rid of me, and then people now started sabotaging the programs that I was doing. Like the alcohol program I was doing was very successful. I did very serious meetings at the coast, at Eastern, at Central, at Rift Valley, and working with all the stakeholders in the security sector, KRA, KEBS, and everybody else, who were able actually to bring sanity in the villages in terms of drug and alcohol abuse. And my spouse, Pastor Dorcas, was also doing a different program and our office on addiction and rehabilitation. And it was working very well. And I was saying, even if I did nothing else, I was quite happy to remain as deputy president to do that program. But along the way, when a decision was made that I must leave office by way of impeachment, that decision was made about a year ago. So it's been a long struggle for a year. That is when it was decided that I must be removed from office because I'm stubborn, because I'm asking too many questions, because I'm not defending corruption, because I'm not defending programs that cannot be defended. And that is when it started now interfering. The coffee subsidy, they only list 500 million so that I can, but then they can blame me of not working on the coffee sector.
All right.
You know, people like a program. And my list so that I boosting the last 1 year. The first 1 year we worked well. I think the last year is when the president decided that I'm too much. He cannot control me. I'm asking too many questions. I'm not a yes-sir person. I am difficult. I'm stubborn, in his own words. I'm erratic and all those things he would say. That is when now the good programs that I was doing that were very successful were sabotaged.
You've heard your point. Let's now speak about the current situation. We are at a season where we are seeing you actively rallying up the Mount Kenya region. What is your
danger. Kenya is a country made of communities and regions. And in our politics, since the advent of multipartyism, no region can govern this country on its own. It's always people coming together and they agreeing on what to do. And all politics is local. Much as I'm a national leader, as you come to the national table, you must come from somewhere and you must bring something on the table. So I come from the Mount Kenya region that President William Ruto asked me to help governors to support him, and I did successfully. And he got 87% of the vote. And from where I sit, from the history of that region, whenever it has been needed, it has always gone to the opposition. Any one time it has been united. So as a deputy president and as a senior leader from that region, I took it upon to unite the region for its relevance in the national political discourse and respect. That we disagreed with the president was my refusal for him to create division in the mountain, because the president wanted to have counties that he would control directly without the center. And I saw danger in that politically for the region in future. And I was telling you can't divide the mountain. The mountain supported you as one. It should remain as one. And I started agitation to unite the mountain successfully. And at a certain point, I think he was advised that it is possible to divide the Mount Kenya east and west. And they tried to do that, but it cannot work. And I'm sure the day we were in Embu, he went home knowing that the mountain is one. In fact, the leaders who were there who were cheered wildly were from the west by the people of the east, President Uhuru Kenyatta and I. And there was somebody from the east. The mountain is one. So going forward, even out of office from that region, to continue working on our unity, to continue telling our people that their relevance in the national political discourse will be informed by their unity of purpose. And I'm very happy that the ordinary people from that division is only at the leadership. Ordinary people are one.
So with this information, then what does your future hold? Are you seeking to unite the mountain so that you can get to join, to form coalitions? Are you seeking to unite?
Not necessarily. The mountain? Not necessarily. I'm just being responsible as a leader from the area, because the region looks upon me to guide on how we move on. After this impeachment, there was a lot of confusion and disquiet. Now what happens to the region? Where are we moving from here? So I have a responsibility to put our people together. And I don't need to be deputy president to do that. I'm a leader who is accepted in that region and loved by the people of that region, because they know me and they believe in me. And I am consulting a lot. I am not working alone. We are talking with other political leaders. We are talking with other political parties. We are talking to church leaders. We are talking to professionals. We are talking to business people. We are talking to the young people. And this consultation is very extensive. It will take this December and the bigger part of January. I'm sure early February we'll have come up with something we can give to our people.
You've said you're talking with other political leaders, yes. And there has been talk out there that you are headed to join forces with Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, Eugene Wamalwa, Natembeya, and those.
I think people are jumping the gun. Kalonzo Musyoka and Eugene Wamalwa are great leaders of this country, and definitely we can work together. Absolutely. And of course, myself and the people of the mountain were very happy with the stand Kalonzo Musyoka took during the impeachment to stand with me. And our people are normally very grateful people. They remember good deeds. And we have listened to what Kalonzo is saying. And we like what he is saying. So there are opportunities that we can always work together. And in fact, there was a cultural meeting between the Gikuyu, the Embu, and the Meru, and the Akamba trying to coin something that they work together. And I want to encourage, that's a very good discussion. Because you know the Akamba people are our cousins. In fact, it's unfortunate we had not been talking earlier. But you know, God's timing is always the best. So, but we have not agreed on any alliance with anybody. What is happening is that leaders who are like-minded talk with each other. But before we can even come to that, you cannot go to discuss with other people before you put your house in order. We need to put our house in order. And the mountain, we made serious mistakes in 2022. Political miscalculation and clear lack of good strategy. And I own up on behalf of the region.
Is this about getting into UDA without your own political
That's what I'm saying. We made many mistakes, and I own up. And I really want to apologize to the people of Mount Kenya region.
All right.
That probably because of lack of experience at that level, had not, dealt at that level. I committed the region to an arrangement that has come to haunt us. In my community, there is a saying that doing something wrong, something bad is not wrong. What is bad is repeating it. We have learned very hard lessons, very painful lessons, that we went to a marriage without proper arrangement, and we were left at the mercy of the president, which should never happen in politics. We will be more careful in future, and that is why this consultation is very slow and extensive, because we cannot afford to make a mistake another day.
You cannot afford to make a mistake. And Mr. Gachagua, one, you said that you want, because people of the mountain will follow you. I ask you this, having in mind that President Uhuru Kenyatta has a considerable following. President William Ruto has a considerable following from the mountain. In fact, he has more members of parliament than you who follow him today. Those members of parliament also have people. So what makes you think, one, that the mountain will follow the route that you will take? And secondly, there is a feeling that you also need to overgrow the politics of being only from the mountain. Where in your heart are other people in the country, the people of Western Kenya, Nyanza, and across the other 47 counties in the country?
I don't know whether the mountain will follow me or not. That is a decision the people will make. Mine is to consult and tell them this is what we have. And so far, decisions they have very heavy me on the way forward. Members of parliament are members of parliament. Most of those members of parliament with the president, none of them can go home. Yeah? None of them can go home, Garaja, because they lost the people. And I kept on telling them to listen to the people. And they say they'll send me home, because if they don't send me home, they send me home. Since they did, they have never gone back home. And it is difficult, because the people of that region are very intelligent people, and they don't take it for granted when you disobey them, because they are your employer. All these members of parliament are employed by the people. When they disagreed with them on the finance bill and the impeachment process, they put themselves against the people. In fact, the group that around me is the only group that has been going to the people. And that is why criminal gangs are being organized to stop us from going to the people, because the other group cannot go to the people.
All right.
And I don't know. You know?
All right.
They are refusing condolences from leaders because they are aware. So when that they will decide. Don't have to lead them, Karanja. My concern for the people of that region is economic advancement.
All right.
Is political cohesion. Is eradication of illicit brews.
All right.
It is peaceful coexistence. Let me say that you are saying I always stay in the mountain. That is a narrative that wants to drive me out. Region. Regarding Gachagua is tribal because he talks about Bulima. Karanja, this issue of tribalism is a mirage. There is nothing. Did tribalism when people want to run away from the failures of the government, mismanagement of the economy, taxation of people, massive corruption, they want now to talk about tribalism.
Right.
Tell me, out of all the issues Kenyans are complaining about,
yes,
is there any one of them that has been caused by tribalism?
That is number two. That is a question. That is a question I would want you to. I would want us to get into once we come from this break. In fact, part of the other questions I would want you to answer is some of your allies are saying President William Ruto, by getting out of his government, decided by himself to become a one-term president. Is it a view you take? That is a question that Rigathi Gachagua will be answering when we come back from this break, because we continue with that conversation at his current residence here in Nairobi.